Ladies and gentlemen, why put God first? Throughout history, humanity has sought direction, guidance on how to live, how to overcome suffering, and how to find purpose. In our modern world, where distractions are abundant and confusion often takes hold, it is critical to ask, what should be at the center of our lives? The answer is simple yet profound. God must come first. When you make God the foundation of your existence, you align yourself with timeless wisdom that governs morality, justice, and truth. Without this foundation, you risk building your life on unstable ground, where values become negotiable, truth becomes subjective, and suffering seems meaningless. But with God as your priority, your actions gain purpose, your struggles gain significance, and your soul finds peace. Consider what happens when people reject this principle. They chase after fleeting pleasures, temporary success, and material wealth, only to find themselves empty, anxious, and restless. They attempt to replace the infinite with the finite, money, status, indulgence, yet none of these provide true fulfillment. Why? Because what is finite can never satisfy an infinite longing. Putting God first does not mean abandoning ambition or ignoring worldly responsibilities. Instead, it means structuring your pursuits with wisdom, integrity, and a higher sense of accountability. When God is first, you become more disciplined, more resilient, and more capable of handling life's hardships. Instead of crumbling under pressure, you endure. Instead of succumbing to despair, you find meaning in suffering. This is not just an abstract concept. It is a principle that transforms lives. It is the difference between a life of confusion and a life of clarity, between disorder and order, between chaos and peace. To put God first is to recognize that there is a higher moral standard beyond our personal desires, a greater purpose beyond our immediate gratification, and a deeper fulfillment that goes beyond what the world can offer. If you truly want to live a meaningful life, start by setting your priorities straight. Make God your foundation, and everything else will fall into place. Prioritizing God as the foundation of one's life provides a moral compass, a guiding force that shapes character, influences behavior, and establishes a framework for ethical decision-making. In a world where values often shift based on societal trends and personal desires, having a fixed moral foundation is essential. Without it, individuals are left to navigate life based on subjective reasoning, which can be flawed, inconsistent, and influenced by external pressures. When God is placed at the center, morality is no longer dictated by personal convenience, but by unchanging principles that transcend time and culture. When rooted in divine guidance, is not just about following rules, but about understanding the essence of what is right and wrong. Many philosophical and religious traditions emphasize that human beings are not merely rational creatures, but also moral agents who must act in ways that uphold justice, truth, and virtue. The presence of God in one's life instills a sense of duty toward ethical living, not out of fear, but out of reverence for something greater than oneself. This understanding provides a solid framework for decision-making, ensuring that actions are not merely driven by short-term desires, but by long-term principles that foster integrity and honor. One of the most profound aspects of placing God first in moral development is the cultivation of self-discipline. When individuals recognize that their actions are accountable to a higher authority, they become more intentional in their behavior. They resist the temptation to act impulsively or selfishly, instead choosing to align their actions with principles of righteousness and virtue. This level of self-discipline extends beyond mere rule following. It becomes an intrinsic part of character formation. A person who prioritizes God learns to control impulses, speak truthfully, act with kindness, and treat others with respect, not because society demands it, but because they recognize a higher calling to do so. In contrast, when morality is detached from God, ethical decisions often become subjective, shifting according to personal benefit or societal trends. In such a framework, what is considered morally acceptable today may not be tomorrow, leading to a fragile system of values that can easily be manipulated. Without a higher moral authority, People tend to justify actions based on self-interest, leading to moral relativism, where right and wrong are determined by individual or collective convenience rather than by absolute truth. This can result in a breakdown of ethical responsibility, where accountability is lost and personal desires override the greater good. Another significant aspect of putting God first in moral development is the ability to resist external pressures that contradict ethical principles. The world is full of influences that encourage dishonesty, selfish ambition, and moral compromise. When a person lacks a strong moral foundation, they are easily swayed by peer pressure, social expectations, and personal ambitions that may lead them away from righteousness. However, those who have firmly rooted their values in God's teachings develop the inner strength to stand against such pressures. They do not conform to corruption or deceit, because their sense of right and wrong is anchored in something unchanging. This steadfast moral grounding also enhances relationships. When people prioritize God in their ethical framework, they develop virtues such as honesty, humility, patience, and forgiveness. These qualities form the basis of healthy relationships, whether in friendships, families, or professional settings. A person who operates with integrity and fairness earns trust, fosters unity, and creates an environment where respect and love flourish. On the other hand, relationships built on deception, selfishness, or manipulation often lead to division, resentment, and emotional turmoil. By aligning one's character with divine principles, interactions with others become more meaningful, constructive, and harmonious. Placing God at the core of morality also brings a deep sense of inner peace. Many individuals struggle with guilt, regret, and the burden of past mistakes. When moral values are dictated solely by human judgment, these burdens often become overwhelming, leading to anxiety and self-condemnation. However, a God-centered morality offers not only a path to righteousness, but also the ability to acknowledge one's faults, seek forgiveness, and strive for personal growth is a transformative process that fosters both spiritual and emotional healing. This sense of redemption provides hope and motivation to continue pursuing moral excellence, even in the face of past failures. Prioritizing God in ethical living ensures that morality is not limited to mere external actions, but extends to the intentions of the heart. True righteousness is not just about adhering to a set of rules, but about developing a sincere desire to do what is good, just, and noble. Many systems of law can regulate behavior through external enforcement, but they cannot regulate the internal motivations of individuals. A God-centered morality, however, emphasizes both external actions and inner transformation, leading to a more holistic approach to ethical living. Making God the foundation of moral strength means recognizing that life is about more than personal gain or societal approval. It is about aligning oneself with eternal truths that shape character, influence decisions, and create a legacy of righteousness. This moral grounding not only benefits the individual, but also contributes to a more just and ethical society. A world where people prioritize God in their moral framework is a world where honesty prevails over deceit, compassion over indifference, and justice over corruption. In such a world, individuals do not merely act ethically because they fear punishment or seek rewards. They act ethically because they understand that doing so reflects a higher purpose. The decision to put God first in moral development is one that requires commitment, introspection, and a willingness to align oneself with principles that may sometimes be difficult, but are ultimately right. It is a choice that strengthens character, builds resilience, and fosters a life of integrity. Those who embrace this path find not only moral clarity, but also a sense of fulfillment that goes beyond material success or social validation. In the end, living a life rooted in divine principles is not about restriction, it is about liberation. It is the freedom to live with purpose, to act with integrity, and to walk with confidence, knowing that one's moral foundation is built on truth rather than fleeting desires. A life centered around God provides a deep and lasting sense of meaning and purpose, offering clarity in a world often clouded by confusion, uncertainty, and existential doubt. Many people struggle to find direction, questioning their existence and seeking fulfillment in various pursuits, whether through career achievements, relationships, wealth, or social recognition. However, these pursuits, while significant, are insufficient in providing a true and lasting sense of purpose. They can offer temporary satisfaction, but they do not address the deeper need for meaning that resides within every human being. And when God is placed at the center of one's life, the search for purpose shifts from external validation to a deeper, more profound understanding of existence. A life without a higher purpose often leads to a sense of emptiness. Many individuals chase success and material wealth, believing that these things will bring them happiness. However, even when they attain what they once desired, they often feel an unexplainable void, as if something essential is still missing. This is because human beings are not just physical entities driven by material needs. They are spiritual beings seeking meaning beyond worldly pleasures. Without God, people may feel lost, questioning their significance, and struggling with an internal sense of dissatisfaction no matter how much they achieve. When one places God first, purpose is no longer dependent on external circumstances. A God-centered life provides a stable foundation for meaning that is not shaken by failures, disappointments, or life's uncertainties. This is particularly crucial in moments of suffering. Many people experience hardship and begin to wonder whether their struggles have any meaning at all. Without a higher perspective, suffering can seem random and cruel, leading to despair. However, when individuals understand that their lives are part of a greater divine plan, suffering takes on a different meaning. It becomes an opportunity for growth, learning, and transformation. Even the most challenging experiences can serve a purpose when viewed through the lens of faith. The pursuit of meaning also affects mental and emotional well-being. People who lack a sense of purpose often struggle with feelings of anxiety, depression, and hopelessness. When individuals do not know why they exist or what they are meant to do, they can become trapped in a cycle of doubt and confusion. However, faith in God provides a sense of direction, giving individuals a clear understanding of their role in the world. It reassures them that their lives are valuable, that they are part of something much greater than themselves, and that their actions have significance beyond immediate gratification. This realization can be incredibly liberating, lifting the burden of existential uncertainty and replacing it with confidence and peace. Another profound aspect of a God-centered purpose is that it shifts the focus from self-centered ambitions to a greater calling. When individuals live solely for themselves, their purpose is often tied to personal gain, accumulating wealth, attaining status, or achieving personal satisfaction. However, these goals, while not inherently wrong, often lead to an insatiable desire for more. The human heart is never fully satisfied with material success alone because it is designed to seek something eternal. By placing God first, people begin to understand that true fulfillment. This shift in perspective also brings greater contentment. Many people measure their worth based on comparisons with others, whether it is wealth, appearance, career success, or social status. This creates a cycle of never-ending competition where self-worth is constantly at risk of being diminished by someone else's achievements. However, when purpose is rooted in God, self-worth is no longer tied to external success. A person who understands their divine purpose is not easily swayed by societal pressures or the opinions of others. They do not feel the need to prove their worth through material possessions or social validation because they understand that their true value comes from their relationship with God and the purpose He has given them. Living with a God-centered purpose brings clarity to decision-making. Many people struggle with major life choices, unsure of which path to take. When life's direction is determined solely by personal desires or societal expectations, decisions can feel overwhelming and uncertain. However, when individuals align their choices with divine wisdom, they find guidance that is far more reliable than mere human reasoning. They begin to make decisions not based on temporary gain, but based on long-term purpose and spiritual fulfillment. This prevents them from making choices that may bring short-term pleasure but lead to long-term regret. A purpose-driven life also fosters resilience. People who lack a strong sense of meaning often crumble in the face of adversity, feeling as though their struggles are pointless. However, those who understand their God-given purpose see challenges as part of their growth process. They develop the ability to endure hardships with strength and patience, knowing that even difficulties serve a greater purpose in shaping their character and deepening their faith. This resilience is a key factor in leading a fulfilled and meaningful life, as it allows individuals to rise above their struggles rather than be defeated by them. Placing God at the center of one's purpose brings lasting fulfillment that cannot be found in worldly pursuits alone. It provides a foundation that remains firm in both success and failure, joy and sorrow. It redirects focus from superficial achievements to meaningful contributions, from selfish desires to selfless service, from temporary pleasures to eternal values. A life without purpose is like a ship without a compass, adrift, directionless, and vulnerable to being tossed by the waves of uncertainty. But when God is the guiding force, life takes on a deeper, richer meaning, filled with clarity, peace, and an enduring sense of fulfillment. Life without order quickly descends into chaos, and without a guiding principle, people often find themselves lost, uncertain, and overwhelmed by the unpredictability of existence. When God is not at the center of one's life, there is a tendency for disorder to take over, leading to confusion, lack of direction, and emotional instability. People begin to live according to their impulses, desires, and fleeting pleasures without a deeper sense of structure or meaning. However, when God is placed first, life gains an inherent sense of order, purpose, and balance. Instead of being driven by randomness or circumstances, individuals who prioritize God align themselves with a higher wisdom that brings clarity and structure. One of the most profound ways in which putting God first establishes order is by providing a clear moral and ethical framework. Without such a framework, right and wrong become subjective, dictated by personal convenience, emotions, or societal trends. This creates an unstable foundation where people justify their actions based on temporary feelings rather than timeless principles. However, a life anchored in God follows a higher moral standard that transcends human fluctuations. It creates boundaries that protect individuals from self-destruction and ensures that their choices lead to long-term fulfillment rather than short-term gratification. By living according to divine wisdom, people develop self-discipline, responsibility, and integrity, qualities that create order not only within individuals, but also within society. Emotional stability is another key aspect of how prioritizing God brings order to life. Without a firm foundation, people often become victims of their emotions, reacting impulsively to circumstances rather than responding with wisdom. Feelings of anxiety, fear, anger, and sadness can become overwhelming when there is no higher perspective to bring peace and reassurance. When God is first, emotions no longer dictate one's life. Instead, faith provides a steady anchor that helps navigate difficult situations with patience and strength. Trusting in divine order allows individuals to remain calm in the face of uncertainty, knowing that their lives are not ruled by chaos, but by a greater purpose. A structured life also means having clear priorities. Many people struggle with feeling overwhelmed because they try to juggle too many things at once without a guiding principle. They chase after success, wealth, relationships, and personal ambitions without considering whether these pursuits align with a greater purpose. This often leads to burnout, stress, and a constant feeling of dissatisfaction. However, when God is first, priorities become clear. Instead of being distracted by every opportunity or desire, individuals focus on what truly matters. They learn to distinguish between what is important and what is merely urgent, making decisions that align with their higher calling rather than being swayed by temporary distractions. Relationships also benefit from divine order. When people live without a higher standard, relationships often become transactional, based on personal benefit rather than genuine love and respect. Conflicts arise because of selfishness, dishonesty, and a lack of commitment to principles that sustain long-term harmony. However, when individuals prioritize God, their relationships become more meaningful, guided by values such as patience, forgiveness, kindness, and integrity. Instead of being fueled by pride or resentment, they seek to build connections based on mutual respect and selflessness. This not only brings stability to personal relationships, but also strengthens families, communities, and society as a whole. Time management and discipline are also deeply influenced by whether or not God is placed first. Many people struggle with procrastination, lack of focus, and inconsistency in their commitments. Without a clear purpose, it is easy to drift from one task to another, wasting time on unimportant things while neglecting responsibilities that truly matter. However, when God is the foundation, there is a greater sense of accountability for how time is spent. People become more intentional about their actions, making the most of their days, and using their talents for meaningful contributions. They understand that their time is a gift and that wasting it on trivial pursuits leads to a life of regret and missed opportunities. Another important way that prioritizing God brings order is through inner peace. Many individuals struggle with a sense of restlessness, constantly seeking something to fill the emptiness they feel inside. They turn to entertainment, social media, addictions, or material possessions in an attempt to quiet their inner turmoil. However, these things only provide temporary relief and often lead to more chaos in the long run. True peace comes from knowing that life is not random or meaningless, but guided by a divine plan. When individuals align themselves with God's order, they experience a sense of calm, even in the midst of difficulties. They no longer feel the need to control every aspect of their lives because they trust in something greater than themselves. Even in adversity, a life built on divine order remains stable. Hardships and struggles are inevitable, but those who prioritize God do not collapse under the weight of their difficulties. Instead, they see challenges as opportunities for growth, learning, and deepening their faith. They are not easily shaken by trials because they understand that suffering has a purpose and that perseverance leads to greater strength. This perspective allows them to endure difficulties with resilience rather than being consumed by frustration or despair. Ultimately, placing God first transforms life from disorder to harmony, from confusion to clarity, and from instability to security. It establishes a sense of purpose that guides every decision, creating a life that is balanced, fulfilling, and meaningful. Instead of being tossed around by emotions, societal pressures, or fleeting desires, individuals who prioritize God stand firm on a foundation that is unshakable. This order is not restrictive, rather it is freeing. It liberates individuals from the chaos of uncertainty, giving them the confidence to live with purpose, wisdom, and peace. Faith in a higher power provides a unique source of resilience in the face of adversity, and this is one of the most powerful reasons for prioritizing God in one's life. The human experience is often filled with challenges, suffering, and moments of deep struggle. Whether it is the loss of a loved one, financial hardship, personal failure, or simply the weight of the world's difficulties, adversity is an inevitable part of life. However, when God is at the center, individuals find the strength to persevere through these trials, not by their own power, but by trusting in a greater plan and divine support. This resilience is not just about surviving difficult times, but about thriving in them, learning and growing through hardship, and emerging stronger in the process. Without faith, suffering can often feel meaningless. People who lack a spiritual foundation may struggle to understand the purpose of pain and hardship, especially when it feels overwhelming or unjust. This lack of meaning can lead to despair, hopelessness, and a sense of helplessness, causing people to retreat into themselves, abandon their goals, or even give up on life. The question, "Why me?" becomes a constant refrain, and without a deeper understanding of the nature of suffering, individuals can become consumed by negative emotions. However, when God is prioritized, suffering is seen through a different lens. It is no longer viewed as a random or pointless event, but as part of a larger, divinely orchestrated journey. With this perspective, individuals find the courage to face their pain head on and continue to move forward, even when the road is difficult. Faith provides a sense of purpose in the midst of suffering, enabling people to find meaning in their struggles. For those who believe in a higher power, there is an understanding that pain can be transformative. It is an opportunity to build character, to develop patience, to learn empathy, and to deepen one's connection with God, rather than allowing hardship to destroy their spirit. People who prioritize God in their lives see it as a chance to grow spiritually and emotionally. They recognize that pain, while unpleasant, is a natural part of the human experience, and they trust that it has a purpose, even if that purpose is not immediately clear. This trust is rooted in the belief that God's plan is greater than any of the obstacles they face. It comes from this deeper connection to faith, and it is often demonstrated in the ability to maintain hope even in the darkest of times. Hope is a powerful force that sustains individuals when everything else seems to be falling apart. It is the belief that no matter how difficult the present moment may be, something better lies ahead. People who put God first find this hope not in external circumstances, but in their relationship with the divine. They know that their struggles are temporary and that they are part of a larger unfolding plan that will ultimately lead to growth and transformation. This hope serves as an anchor, keeping them grounded even when their world feels like it is falling apart. This resilience also manifests in a greater ability to cope with the emotional toll of hardship. Life's challenges can be emotionally draining, often leaving individuals feeling defeated, angry, or overwhelmed. However, individuals who prioritize God draw upon their faith as a source of emotional strength.